Hey everyone, my name is Esmond and I'm a licensed real estate agent in Singapore. If you are a HDB flat seller, I believe you will find today's video useful for you because in today's topic, I'll be talking about how to plan your timeline for the sale of your HDB flat effectively and to minimize any inconveniences that can bring to you or your family when selling your flat. Why is this particularly important? Is number one, the movement for you and your family members from one property to the other. We want to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. If not, you sell already, then you don't have any other place to move to. That can be sometimes a bit headache. And we want to try to avoid that. Right. Secondly, it's also to plan for the movements of your funds from your current property to your next property itself. And when you are facing a big ticket item purchase in your life, I think this kind of stress is something that we should try to avoid as much as possible. Right, so let's dive into today's topic. When we talk about timeline, I would draw a timeline line, right? So today we are looking at in terms of the seller, and first thing as a seller is to do up this intent to sell. Right, so this intent to sell, if you are a single seller, single owner, you will use your SingPass to log on to the HDB Flat Portal and then to register this intent to sell. And if you are a co-owner of a HDB flat, either you or your co-owners use your SingPass, log in, register this intent to sell, and then you will be notified of your eligibility to sell immediately thereafter, right? So once this is done, there will be a 7 days cooling period to observe to make sure that you really want to sell your flat right? So you think, then you realize actually I don't want to sell my flat then it's okay, doesn't matter. But if not, once this 7 days cooling period is up and you manage to find a buyer immediately, what you will do next is to actually issue the OTP, or what we call the option to purchase, to the buyers. So as a sellers, you will grant the buyers this option to purchase. And at the same time of granting this option to purchase to your buyers, you will actually be receiving an option fee of $1 to $1,000 in cash. So it can be via PayNow, be cash format, via bank transfer, check. As long as you receive and acknowledge the money, that is okay, right? So next up, once you have issued this OTP to your buyers, technically you are now in a binding contract with your buyers already. You as a seller, you cannot back out, okay? But the buyers themselves, they actually have this period of what we call the option period of 21 days to go and consider whether they want to exercise their right to purchase this flat or not, right? So this is the option period of 21 days. So upon this end of 21 days is what we will say the buyers can then choose to exercise or not exercise. And if they do choose to exercise, they will then pay $1 to $4,999 as an exercise fee to secure your unit and to finalize their decision. So this portion of the monies, it cannot exceed $5,000, right? So if they were to pay $1, they can actually pay $4,999. And if they pay $1,000, then the maximum they can pay here is $4,000. So adding up a total of $5,000. But if you ask me today, Esmond, can they pay $1 and $1? Yes, they can, because $1 is a consideration sum of money for them to issue you this OTP. Okay, today we are talking about the sellers. So can the buyers give you this $1? Yes, they can, because it's a sum of consideration of money, right? So after that, once this 21 days is up, they either exercise and pay you this exercise fee, or they actually forfeit and lapse this OTP itself. So if let's say they were to lapse and not proceed to exercise, what happens next is this option fee is actually forfeited. You can keep it. You as a seller, you will keep it. This is your money, right, then we will just find a new set of buyers again. But if let's say they do plan to exercise, then okay, that's good. We will then move on, let them exercise, and moving forward is what we will call the resale submission. A resale submission is actually for you as a seller and then also the buyer side to submit your application to the HDB portion for them to process and to make sure that everyone's particulars, documentations, everything is all in place for you to sell your flat and for the buyers to purchase this flat, right? So this period of time that we are seeing between the after exercising towards the option period, this period is actually negotiable, right? So if you ask me, is there a standard kind of number of days that sellers and buyers tend to agree on to submit? It's actually very flexible. I have seen people who says, oh, let's do it in 7 days time. Some will say, oh, let's do it in 14 days. Some will say, oh, why not, let's do it in 21 days. Some will say, why not, let's do it in 30 days, that kind of stuff. So you will realize that they don't actually go by a specific number of days. It can be 8 days, 9 days kind of stuff, as long as it's agreeable by the sellers as well as the buyers. Okay, the maximum number of days that you can go to, I would say not more than 90 days, because on the buyer side, they actually do have to go through this what we call the request for valuation, and this valuation process will actually be valid for a certain number of period, once they have this result. So we want to make sure that when they submit this resale submission, this valuation request is still going to be valid for them. So we don't usually exceed this number of days for this validity of the valuation request itself, right? So let's take, for example, this is at 30 days lah, and then moving forward we have submitted the resale submission. Say for example, on this submission itself, one party submit on the first day. Moving forward, the second party will have up to 7 days to submit their portion as well. Say for example, today is 1st of June. Next party submit no later than 8th of June. Right? So this is how this resale submission works. And if let's say you have to submit later than this 7 days of each other's submission, then the first party submission will lapse and they will have to resubmit again. Okay, so you have to take note for this. Right, so resale submission portion, as a seller, you would also need to pay an admin fee to the HDB portion. So that amount depends, but usually it's going to be $80. Okay, so moving forward, once you are done with the resale submission, next thing to take note of is for HDB side to accept the resale submission. And this juncture over here, let me use this. Okay, this juncture over here, it can actually take up to 2 weeks or more, or even say up to a month. I have some cases where it's more than a month. It depends on how fast HDB side processes the application itself. Sometimes they do have a huge backlog, so we have to understand and to just wait a little bit longer. But if not, usually 2 to 4 weeks time, we will receive the acceptance from HDB. And during this period, when they are assessing the submission, any other documents that they do require you to replenish or refurnish, they will let you know as accordingly. So there is a certain deadline for you to go and furnish these documents, so to meet all the deadlines and everything lah, right? And then once this resale acceptance is out, you can expect that to a period of plus 8 weeks specifically to your completion. So this SMS sent to you will definitely be on a weekday itself, because completion will also take place on a weekday. HDB side, government body, they don't work on weekends one lah, alright, and no public holidays also. So you would expect to receive an SMS regarding the acceptance of the resale application, and then from there onwards, 8 weeks later, it will be your completion. But during these 8 weeks, there will be several milestones for you to also take note of, right? So say for example, number 1, we are looking at the endorsement. For your endorsement of your resale documents on the HDB website. So you as the seller, as well as your other co-owners, will have to log on to the HDB portal and then to go and endorse it electronically lah. So you click inside, you click, go through the documents, tick the boxes, click endorse. That will do. Okay. Then moving forward, HDB side will also arrange a schedule with you to come and visit, to walk through the house itself as an inspection, right? So over here, I'll say inspection of flat. So this inspection of flat, usually they will take a look at any unauthorized, renovations being done up to the house itself, your bomb shelter if it's still in unblocked kind of situation, that kind of stuff. Your windows, hinges and everything, are they working as it should be, etc, etc. So all this will take place when the HDB officer comes up to the flat to do a walkabout, and they will notify you of that specific date as well as a time range of their visit when they let you know that your resale application has been accepted. So this information will be inside the document in the HDB Flat Portal. So you should log in and to retrieve this document so that you can prepare for the HDB branch officer's visit to your home. Alright, moving forward, during the 8 weeks itself, there will also be documents available thereafter for you to go and retrieve through the HDB portal, your own HDB Flat Portal, to go and retrieve your town council document. This is to actually go and close your town council conservancy fees from there. So your conservancy fees, everything, they will just charge you all the way up to the day of completion, because after completion you are no longer the legal owner so technically you wouldn't be billed for this conservancy charges thereafter already. So you have to go and go to your managing town council, go and settle any other outstanding payments that is being charged to you up to the day of your completion, right? So once that is done, that document that you print out, you bring along with you to the town council. Once you make the payments, all is done, they will sign off, give you the receipt, you take back the form, and then the form itself, you'll bring it to HDB Hub during your completion day. That is part of your documents as well, right? So from there, you will just wait for completion to take place, and then on completion itself, this is the day where you head down to HDB Hub, attend the completion, and then sign, take your cashier's order if you do have any cash proceeds from there, right? The cashier's order, let me just emphasize this, cashier's order. If you are a co-owner, you have to make sure that you and your co-owners actually have a joint account, so that when this cashier's order is issued to you, or a check, the proceeds, you can actually bank it into this joint account's name, bearing you as well as the co-owners to take out the money thereafter. Bank it in, then you take out the money right? And as the seller, I think you would suppose sometimes there may be a need for you to continue staying at the flat itself, because your next property may not be ready yet for your move-in, right? So this is what we will call the extension of stay. So extension of stay itself, take note for this particular part, if you do require your extension of stay, please highlight to the buyers right at the start before you issue your OTP. Okay, before you issue your OTP. Why this is important is because if you don't let them know your terms and conditions, you don't let the buyers know, the buyers are unaware, then they will expect, after completion, oh, I'm going to take the keys, I'm going to start my renovations and stuff like that. They will become the legal owners of the house, or if not, they'll just move in straight away. And you have no place to stay thereafter, you have to move out. So if you need this 3 months extension, please highlight upfront to the buyers so that they can also have this information being considered as a whole package to negotiate with you, to discuss with you, and then to make sure that things flow in progression as accordingly, right? Sometimes it can be used as a bargaining chip, so it depends on how you negotiate as well, right? Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but most importantly is to find a middle ground for both parties to stand on and become a win-win situation for everyone, right? So something to take note of. And if you are asking for the extension of stay, take note, this is not going to be more than 3 months. All right, HDB is not going to allow anything that exceeds 3 months. Okay, so take note for this one. And there are going to be eligibility conditions for you to fulfill in order to get this 3 months extension of stay approved by HDB, right? So some of the eligibility conditions will be, you have to be able to have your next property that is already completed and ready for you, although it's still processing in terms of the paperwork and stuff like that, but it has to be a completed property itself, ready for you to move in. All right, you can be doing your reno during this 3 months extension and stuff like that. So if you are thinking of purchasing, say for example, a building under construction BUC, or what we call a new launch say for example, once you sell your HDB flat, that new launch is still building then there is no place for you to move, and in that circumstances HDB will not actually provide you this approval for your extension of stay. So you have to take note for this, right? So and last but not least, I was supposed also to mention this point. During your extension of stay for that 3 months period, you are no longer the legal owner of the unit, right? The buyers are now the legal owners. You are there staying as, I was supposed, and as a guest in some ways or the other but you are still responsible for the maintenance of the or the well-being or the upkeep of the unit itself, right? To take it as though it's your home, take care of it. And then during that 3 months, any expenses incurred, say for example your utilities, they will still be under you. Your Wi-Fi, broadband, all those charges, it will still be under you. They wouldn't be terminated. The buyer side wouldn't go and apply and stuff like that, right? And also to take note, your town council conservancy charges. Earlier on I mentioned you pay up to completion, but now after completion, if you are going to continue staying there as an extension of stay period kind of arrangement, it is right for you to actually bear this cost because the buyers are not staying there yet. It wouldn't make sense for them to make this payment for you unless all this has been negotiated upon and stuff like that. But if not, usually the sellers will bear this conservancy fees incurred during their months of extension of stay, right? And last but not least, the buyer side, they will actually receive a prorated property tax billing billed to them, stating the amount of charges for this during extension of stay period. So that period of time, because the buyers as the new owners, they are not staying there, they are not occupiers of the unit, so they will be charged at a different rate, not the owner occupier kind of basis. So that would be the other basis where it's a non-owner occupier kind of basis. It will be at a slightly higher rate. So technically by right as well, you as a seller, you will reimburse them towards this payment as well, right? Unless it's been negotiated or discussed in some other arrangements or so, right? Okay, so I would suppose that should be the end of the whole timeline planning of what to expect if you are a seller. And I would say from the start till the end, hold on, let me just use this. From the start till the end of the whole thing, until completion, the usual timeline that it takes is going to be about 3.5 months or 4 months or so. It's about there. So it depends on how fast you as a seller is going to sell your flat, not including the marketing and everything. I'm talking about when you option your flat up to the day of completion itself, right? So it can take about 3.5 months to 4 months, depending on what is the resale period that is negotiated between you as a seller as well as with your buyers, and then also dependent on how fast HDB site processes the whole application itself. Right, so if everything is all done in a quicker fashion, then everything will be done up much faster. But if not, typically we will expect 3.5 to 4 months or so. And if you have extension of stay of the 3 months, just add it in. So we could go possibly, up to 6 months, 7 months, that kind of period, before you have to hand over your keys to the buyers, right? So some of the extreme cases I've come across, or I've done up as well, is that for the resale submission portion, we have dragged it out for the longest time period, right? So with that in mind, it really drags up the whole transaction timeline to slightly close to a year before the buyers actually move in. So I have helped the sellers to clinch that, because it's my job to do so. So we have to make sure that the buyers are aware of this arrangement, the sellers are aware, both parties are agreeable, right? And if let's say there are any arrangements that is being discussed, say for example for your extension of stay and everything, we tend to also document it down for all this, so to make sure that everything is in black and white, signed upon, agreed upon. So if anything happens or stuff like that, either parties can actually use this document itself to pursue their legal interests and all, right? Okay, so some other milestones to take note of is during the marketing of your unit itself, how you present the whole house, how you make sure that your unique selling points are being conveyed across successfully to the buyers, for them to appreciate this information, for them to understand what's the finances and everything. It's going to be part of the art of negotiation, right? Agents like myself and my teammates, we have been doing this over and over again. So a lot of these kind of processes we are very conversant, and we do take note of all these kind of pitfalls, what kind of unique selling points that we should be enhancing our pitches on and stuff like that, to really bring up the true value of your home, or even better, right? So we want to help to achieve that. But if not, if you're doing it yourself for the first time ever, this would be a general kind of basis of what you should be expecting, right? And if you have any questions with regards to your sale, you can reach me at this number. Feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them if it's in my capacity to do so, right? Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider liking this video, subscribing, sharing this video with people in your circle who might really benefit from this. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.